What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, everybody, America? How is everyone today? It's your boy Rod, it's your boy Don, and it is the Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. We are live and direct, and of course, everybody's a bit heavy-hearted today, but in prayer. Of course, we're going to talk about the Hamlin family and Damar and everything that's going on concerning his health today, among some other things regarding the NFL. But while I'm here, my man D is here. And before we get into this tonight, we need y'all to do us a favor. We need you to like this video. We need you to subscribe. We need you to share. We need you to comment. We need you to engage everything we're talking about today. And we appreciate all the love and support that everybody's been giving us through the week since we started our show. We're excited. You're excited. And we're here. Big D, what's good with you, bro?
Rod, we got some technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah, I see you froze. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm on a hot spot.
Okay. Yeah. Trust me, I know. Yeah,
the old
I know.
hot spot situation.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but it's a very sad situation that took place with Damar Hamlin, 24 years old, dealing with such a horrible, traumatic situation, a fluke play, if you will, that was, life-threatening. And we send our prayers to him and his family, and, even the Bills in Cincinnati. Also T Higgins.
Yes, sir.
Because, that's a difficult situation that he's dealing with. But once again, we ask everyone to please like, share, subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube pages. We appreciate that. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate all that you guys do for us. And I think without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Well, week 17 has been really unbelievable for a lot of reasons that we kind of spoke on in the beginning of the show. For those who have not seen or heard of the tragic situation that happened during the Bills and Cincinnati game, basically on a routine play, Damar Hamlin sustained. It was weird because watching the play, it looked like just a routine tackle, right? He was attempting to tackle T Higgins, wide receiver for Cincinnati Bengals, and initially he made the hit, and he momentarily got up, and then he collapsed, and at that point, it was known that that wasn't a normal occurrence of how a game and a play would take place. So immediately medical staff and got involved. And my understanding is, obviously the players were incredibly shaken up by the situation. It's traumatic seeing someone that you care about, appearing to be, at a high distress, so my understanding is they performed CPR. They gave him oxygen immediately. Of course, the ambulance came and took him to a local hospital that I think is approximately 2 miles away from where they were playing. And latest I've heard that he is in a induced coma. And I think he's on some type of ventilator or breathing tube.
Intubator, yeah. A tube.
And so once again, I think this puts everything in perspective, just how fragile life is in general. And, our hearts and prayers go out to him and his family. And it's just a difficult situation. I know we do a sports show, but this young man's life, he has his whole life ahead of him. Obviously, that is more important. That's where the focus is. All of our energy and prayers are going towards him and his family. What do you say?
Well, again, and to just echo pretty much what you said, D, obviously the entire NFL, the country at large, hearts are heavy. Thoughts and prayers are with Hamlin and his entire family. This is a young kid, 6th-round draft choice, coming out of Pittsburgh, rather, excuse me. And he's from Pittsburgh, actually. So he decided to stay local with the team he decided to get a scholarship with, and or that obviously offered him a scholarship to play football. And really good player. Everyone that has spoken of him in the NFL and throughout the NFL. In fact, I had a chance to even go on his Instagram page just to kind of get to know him, get to feel what he was like. Everyone's saying so many glowing things regarding his personality and really easygoing guy, man. Very, very mild-mannered, as his high school coach spoke about him being an even-keeled kind of guy, but he worked hard. He's a competitor. And, it's to see him get to this place where, he took over in week 3 as a result of an injury there to their starting safety. And he's been, playing actually really good football. And, he's become a really, really strong piece to their defense, as we know. And
I believe he leads them in tackles, not to cut you off.
Yeah. No, that's good. No, you're right. He actually does. And so, he's playing good. He's playing well. He's doing everything he needs to do to maintain that reputation of a stout defensive team, as we know the Buffalo Bills to be. But when we look at this kid and we see what happened, as you said, Donald, this was an anomaly. This was something that was an aberration from what we normally see. We know that the game of football is a violent game. As is often said, it's the only sport where you can literally get away with assaulting someone, right? And so, to see what happened and what appears to be a very routine tackle, with tackling T Higgins coming across on that little crossing route there and colliding, and to see that this was something that, based on the way it looked, it wasn't a issue with a concussion or a head injury, but something that's, pulmonary, something that has to do with this respiratory, and to have CPR administered was definitely shaking, definitely something that shook everyone to the core. And what really moved me was the players, man, to see those players like just, cringing, crying, bawling. I mean, the emotion that they were, exhibiting, because a lot of times they become so immune to guys getting hurt. I was listening to Shady McCoy talk earlier today, how like in practice, when guys would get hurt in practice, man, Don, they would just basically like, all right, move the ball up 10 more yards and continue to run the play while the guy behind them is hurt and screaming in pain and writhing in pain with the medical staff, and they're still attending practice. They're still going on like as if nobody's there. Bodies are laid out everywhere from injuries, and nobody cares because they become so immune to this. It's like it's on to the next play. Give me a thumbs up. Let me make sure you good. All right, we on. We just gonna move on, because they're trained to think like that, to continue to have that gladiator mentality. But, yesterday, I think killed all that. And this was a sobering moment for everyone. Ryan Clark talked about it on ESPN, how this whole thing about, I'm going to die for my brother. I'm going to go in there and we'll be in a foxhole with this one and that one, and that sort of thing, and that bravado mentality that is often perpetuated in the sport of football. You know what? A lot of that, all of that died yesterday. People became human. People became concerned. And there was just no way that game was going to continue after seeing what we saw in relationship to what happened, to Damar Hamlin. So, we're praying, man. We're praying, believing God, because the NFL came out today and said they are not going to reschedule that game for this week. So it's still determined in terms of what they want to do. But I don't even know. Again, I don't think the players would want to continue to play unless they know the status of Damar Hamlin going forward.
I agree. I totally agree. And, understanding that as much as sports in general, all sports, basketball, football, baseball, it's all hockey, you name it, is all entertaining at the end of the day. There are still real people with real lives, real families that depend on him. He's somebody's son, perhaps a brother, a husband, a father. And for people to be so cavalier and callous to the situation and the gravity of it is just mind-blowing. Speaking of people who, really had received a very much due backlash, was Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless said he sent out a tweet, but he later tried to retract it and say that it was taken out of context. But I say this, I look at a person's track record, and I make the determination if that was a one-off or if that's how you really feel. Right. And it was incredibly insensitive. This person is potentially on his way to the hospital or in the emergency room fighting for his life. And Skip Bayless is talking about, well, how are they going to schedule this game? Because, week 18 is coming up. How insensitive and just basic, plain stupid can you be? I mean, surely I don't think this is a one-off, because we see how he has responded several times to the person that is his coworker, the person that quote unquote is in the foxhole with Skip, which is Shannon Sharpe. He shows him little to no respect. There are many times where they get into a debate, and then of course Skip always goes below the belt. He starts taking personal attacks when he compares him. For example, and this was a big blow up on TV when Skip compared Shannon's career. Now, mind you, Shannon is a Hall of Fame tight end, 3 Super Bowls.
Yes, he does have.
Yes, he's not a quarterback, but he's not his position didn't allow him to be as protected as quarterbacks historically have been. Now, given the situation, and you switch positions between Tom Brady and Shannon Sharpe, who's to say Tom Brady could play 20 years? Okay, it's apples and oranges. But what does Skip do? Skip compares him and says, "Oh, he was way better than you, and you're jealous of him because he's able to play at 45, and your body made you quit at 35 or 34." Whenever age Shannon actually retired.
Yeah, they're like 37, somewhere in there.
But the point is that how dare you come across that way? You've never played anything. And you're accomplished in what you do as far as being, a journalist and a broadcaster. But these people have given their bodies to be burned, if you will, for the sake of a sport. So after he said that, he put out the tweet, and now he did the show by himself, because I don't know if Shannon was out of town or Shannon just said, "Hey, you know what? You got to eat this by yourself." And I hope that was the case. I hope he was saying, "Hey, Skip, you opened your fat mouth. Now you're going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to walk it back. You're going to have to now correct it. Don't use me," because he likes to use different people to have his own type of street cred, right? He loves saying that Lil Wayne is one of his tightest friends. That doesn't give you street cred. If you said this stuff to some of these players face to face, they would probably slap the taste out your mouth.
No question.
But you feel comfortable behind the desk, and now that you use Shannon, his street cred and his proximity or the fact that you and him are friends, I think a lot of times Skip abuses that. He abuses the fact that they're friends, and that Shannon doesn't call him on a lot of the stuff that he says. He keeps it, he gets upset, but of course he always scales it back. But I think there have been, I've been on Twitter today just trying to get updates about Hamlin, and I was trying to find, how he's faring, and all I could see on Twitter was fire Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless. I mean, people are really after him because he had no regard for this person's life. What do you say?
No, I agree with you, man. Listen, Skip is narcissistic to me. Always have been, always will be. That's his personality. That's how he is. He knows how. It's almost like Trump in a lot of ways. He knows how to take the spotlight and somehow get it centered on him. He understands exactly what he's saying. He intentionally creates polarizing remarks and statements so that he can get the attention drawn to him. Look, he's got tough skin. He doesn't care about friends and, you know, making relationships and stuff. That he doesn't care. And obviously, being the most notable figure on FS1, right? There was not going to be any kind of repercussion for what he said. It wasn't like Fox was going to suspend him or anything like that, right? So what did they do? They let him run a whole show by himself, right? You know, whether it would have been, well, you know what, Shannon, don't defend me. I'm going to do this by myself because I'm Skip, and I'm going to, you know, allow what I said, and I'm going to navigate this whole narrative on my own, you know, again, so I could have the attention on me. Because with you on the show, you know, a lot's going to be drawn to you as a former player and speaking about, you know, Damar Hamlin and all the insight that goes into how players would feel about injury and stuff. No, he heaped all of this on that one tweet, by the way, that got 112 million views. As we know, Twitter has changed its algorithms now, so the like is not the thing anymore. It's about the views of, or the actual interactions that come with the tweet. And 112 million views is synonymous to a Super Bowl viewership. That's ridiculous. So when you said you were searching on Twitter for updates on Damar Hamlin and finding that you know, Skip trumps all the news, it's baffling almost. But this is what Skip does. He got into it with Jalen Rose. He got into it with T.O. This is the kind of things that he does in order to get the attention that he needs. And by the way, the tweet that he sent, you know, at the time they were still administering CPR. You know, he hadn't even gotten into the ambulance yet. They were still administering CPR. He was still on the field fighting for his life at the time when Skip sent this tweet out. So again, the insensitivity, the detachment of the moment, not even caring, you know, and then you're gonna, at the end of that tweet, it's like, well, you know, but yet this is so, you know, irrelevant. Like, no, you don't get to kind of put a spin on it at the end. You didn't need to say any of that. None of that was at all we said. Nobody was speaking about that. And I'll just say this, as we're talking about the personalities, well, I'll say two things real quick. Shannon Sharpe, in my opinion, I think he needs to leave Skip. You hit it on the head, D. He's disrespectful to Shannon. To call this man out and to accuse him of jealousy, which I think Shannon would have no reason in the earth. He's just a very objective analyst that's saying, look, you know, you got to give the smoke to Brady too, because Skip gives Brady and Jordan. Those two are like Jesus Christ. They can walk on water and back. It doesn't matter. They can split Red Seas. They can raise people from the dead all day, because that's how Skip sees them. But if I'm Shannon Sharpe, you know what? Today, after this, I would be like, you know what? I want out. And I don't know if Shannon feels ingratiated to him, feel like he needs to be on this platform with him, feel some type of debt with him, because what's been said is that Skip kind of gave him a chance. And, you know, Shannon always had, you know, obviously he's always had speech impediment and not able to speak well. So that's always been a challenge in his career. But, you know, Skip gave him a chance and put him on this platform or whatever, which I really think it was more about to just counteract, you know, First Take with Stephen A. So have another black player across, you know, another black analysts across the table from him.
Right.
But, you know, that's really what it is to me. But the second thing I'll just say real quick, shout out to ESPN, though. Troy Buck, to the sideline reporter, I forget her name, it escapes me at the moment, to those in the studio there. To have that, I thought Booger and I thought Ryan Clark and I thought the guys did as best as they could with a situation like that they're not trained for. I thought they really kind of navigated that space as best as they could with the most empathy that they could muster up and compassion. I say muster, I don't mean that they needed to contrive it, but what I'm saying is they were very sensitive to the moment, and it was really something that obviously was unprecedented. And I thought they did a pretty good job, you know, just handling that moment, kind of setting the pathway for other, you know, TV networks, and then be able to cover, you know, eventually what occurred, because they got that in real time, and that's not easy to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think, you know, I know that there was talk about, I think this past summer, Shannon Sharpe, if I'm not mistaken, was up for a contract extension with Fox Sports 1. And so if I'm Shannon Sharpe, I'm thinking, hey, I really don't need Skip, you know. And another thing that Skip does, he talks to Shannon Sharpe about how many Twitter followers he has, how many Instagram followers. And it's okay for Skip to say how cool he is with, you know, Lil Wayne and other people, you know, how many books he wrote while, you know, kind of being around the Dallas Cowboys and all these people that, Eric Dickerson and all of these people that he's quote unquote close with, or maybe they're just tolerating him. And then when Shannon Sharpe says that people endear him as an uncle, there always seems like there's some resentment on Skip's part, because Shannon Sharpe, to a large degree, whether Skip gave him an opportunity, but I mean, Shannon Sharpe has done, he had a job with CBS before, so that wasn't his first kind of gig. But of course, the show, as far as the ratings, it really took off with Shannon Sharpe, because realistically speaking, when Stephen A left, I'm not a big Stephen A guy.
Right.
So I did, I liked the chemistry that him and Skip Bayless had, but I wouldn't watch the show if it was just Skip Bayless. I mean, let's be serious. I wouldn't watch the show if it was just him. So
Absolutely
Shannon
not.
Sharpe being there made the difference. But now it gets to a point where, Shannon Sharpe's popularity and what he brings to the table, I think is, greater than what really Skip brings. Yeah, you gave me an opportunity.
Absolutely.
But if it's a genuine opportunity, right? Why would you be upset if this person moves on to bigger and better things or wants to expand their career? Because, Shannon Sharpe started his podcast, or, Club Shay Shay.
Yep.
And it's successful. He gets everybody on that show, right?
Absolutely.
Because he's a good personality. He's funny. He seems extremely genuine, right?
Right.
And then what does Skip Bayless do? He starts his podcast. Nobody's on that show. Nobody wants to be on that show. Nobody would dare. I don't know who he's had as a guest, but it's just what you said. He's a narcissist, and he talks about himself, and it's about there's a difference between following something and being close to it and actually doing it. Skip a lot of times kind of muddies the water because he's been around for 40 years in journalism and sports, but he hasn't played anything, right?
No.
Jalen Rose already said he was a marginal at best player, and that he put him in his place as to how dare you criticize anybody who made it to that level when you were just a marginal bench player, So if we're real about it, I think Shannon Sharpe should look elsewhere. And if Fox Sports 1 is not interested, Amazon's paying like they weigh, right? They got money. Why can't he go to Amazon? I mean, there's other. Hey, listen, somebody would definitely pay to have Shannon Sharpe there, and he can develop his own show. He can choose who, if he wants to have it with like a 2-person panel, he can decide that.
Right.
I mean,
he can almost do what Stephen A is doing with just rotating people in and out.
Absolutely.
Do that. Because the thing that these guys have is they have a pulse of the culture, and they also add to the culture. Unlike Skip. Skip has nothing to do. He doesn't add and he doesn't take away from the culture. He does nothing. He's just
no nutritional value. No nutritional value.
No, that's an excellent way to put it, D.
No
he
nutritional value.
No nutritional value at all to the culture. So he's got to create these waves. Hence what he did last night with the tweet, among other things. So
yeah. So once again, we're going to keep our prayers going for.
Yes, we will.
Damar Hamlin. We pray that everything works out. Hey, listen. At the end of the day, that is what's most important. The sports, and I think honestly, we're going to focus on that. And all the things that we're going to talk about and could talk about. I think right here is a good place for us to kind of conclude our show, because
I agree.
At the end of the day, his life is more important.
Absolutely.
And we're focusing on that. God willing, there'll be other shows for us. God willing, he will recover, and our prayers are with him.
Yes,
once again, Rod, I thank you for joining me today. We ask everyone to continue to pray for brother Hamlin, Damar Hamlin, because and his family, and also T Higgins, right? Because there is a two side to it. Of course, the impact to Damar Hamlin's family, obviously, but also T Higgins, so that he doesn't. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was dirty. It was just a fluke play. But you have to feel something being a part of it, or a cause and effect to it. So we also pray for T Higgins, that he's able to, deal with this situation. Also, real quick, Damar Hamlin had my understanding is he had like a toy drive that was is supposed to have, I think it was a GoFundMe for a toy drive, and I think they were asking for $2,500. And then last I checked, I don't want to misquote, but I thought it was they raised over $3 million for it.
Well, actually, I just about maybe an hour or two before we got on the show tonight, D, it was up to 5 million, 5.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And so it's probably even more. By the time we end this, it's going to be probably a whole lot. He's received over 175,000 donations already. So yeah, it's over five. It's over 5.5 million already. Yeah. That was over about an hour and a half ago. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it gives you courage, and it gives you a belief in humanity again. Maybe courage is not the word. It gives you a feeling that there is a human side to people, people still care. There's still good people in the world. And I think in 2023, without being clichéic, I think we do need to focus on the positive, focus on the fact that, we are more alike than we are apart, or different, if you will. And, actions like that show that people do care. And once again, our prayers go out to him and his family.
Absolutely.
We thank you for watching today. Please like, share, subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page. Music is done by Infinite Audio, production by Kingdom Creative.
Creative. KC, what's good?
We thank you. Until next time. Thank you for watching. Peace.